Hello, boys and girls. My name is Miss Grubbs, and I teach 6th grade ELA at South Pontotoc Middle School. Today, we're just going to do a little review with one of the stories that's in your packet. We're going to look at the story Move Over Spider-Man. Here's Spider Goat. So if you have your packets, you can follow along, but if you don't have your packet, didn't go pick it up, haven't received it in the mail, then you can always download it on the website as well. But if not, then you can just follow along on the screen. What I would ask though is that if you do have your packet, that you just put me on pause for a few minutes and take the time to read over your passage. But if not, if you don't have the packet, then you'll be fine. We'll go back to the text together and look at some of these questions. So with this text today, Move Over Spider-Man, Here's Spider Goat by Jolie Allen. This text is an informational passage. So today we're going to look at a couple of those informational standards and just go back over and use some of the strategies to look at the questions and think about the answers as a review for you this summer. So one of the standards we're going to look at is RI 6.1. So if you can remember, RI 6.1 is about using the text, citing text evidence, and making those inferences that are drawn from the text. So RI 6.1, cite textual evidence to support your analysis, whatever you decide, of what the text says explicitly, as well as the inferences drawn from the text. Another one of the standards we're going to look at within this story is RI 6.2. Most of you remember RI 6.2. It's about making those, determining a central idea of the text and providing a summary. But when you provide a summary of the text, you leave out your opinions, you leave out your judgments, your feelings about the text, and only use the information that's in that particular text. So RI 6.2, determining a central idea of the text and providing a summary. The other standard we're going to look at is RI 6.3. When you think about RI 6.3, of course, we are talking about informational text, but RI 6.3 is where we want to analyze in detail how a key individual, an event, or an idea is introduced, how it's illustrated, and how it's elaborated within the text. And then the last standard that's covered in this story as far as the questions is RI 6.5, how we analyze a particular sentence, a paragraph, a chapter, a section, how it fits into the overall structure of a text, and how it could contribute to the development of ideas within the text. So as I said earlier, if you have the text, I'd take a few minutes, pause this recording, and read over the text. If not, you can just follow along and look at the questions as we analyze them, break them down. Look at the keywords within the questions to help us figure out what the question is asking us. So let's do that now. And look at the very first question. So what I would do is I would look at the question and ask myself, what is this question asking? What standard does this question ask me? So in number 1, in paragraph 2, the author explains why scientists are trying to find a way to produce spider silk using goats by showing blank. So yes, it does tell us a particular section of the text, but it's not asking me how does paragraph 2 contribute to the text. What it's telling me is I can go to paragraph 2, and I should, and it's telling me an idea in this particular question. It's telling me why scientists are trying to find a way to produce spider silk by using goats by showing blank. So I have labeled this one RI 6.3 because we are analyzing an idea. And the idea is why scientists are trying to find a way to produce a spider silk using goats by showing blank. So in order to answer this question, I would go back to paragraph 2, I would reread what paragraph 2 is saying, and then I should be able to make my answer choice correctly. as to which of those answered choices explains why the scientists are actually trying to find a way to produce spider silk using goats. So then I come on down to question number 2. Question number 2, as I have labeled here for you, is an RI 6.1 question, and let's figure out why. Number 2 says, which statement best explains an advantage of using goats rather than spiders for the production of silk? So basically with this question, they've given me an idea that there is an advantage of using goats rather than spiders for the production of silk. And I need to pick a statement from the text that explains that. So that's sort of the reason question number 2 is an RI 6.1 because I'm citing text evidence to support my analysis that there is an advantage of using goats rather than spiders for the production of silk. So I would think about the whole story as I've read it, the text, and think about why is there an advantage of using goats rather than spiders. And you should be able to figure out the answer to that question fairly easily. Then I come to question number 3. So I kind of got carried away when I was labeling this with my highlighter here. But it is an RI 6.3 question. Remember, RI 6.3 is where I might have an individual, I might have an idea or an event, and I have to analyze how that detail is introduced, how is it illustrated, how is it elaborated. So in this question, what did Jeffrey Turner discover about using Nubian goats for possible silk production? I have a key individual, and that is Jeffrey Turner, and his idea is that he's using Nubian goats for possible silk production. So our question is, what did he actually discover? So what I would do is I would go back up to the text and I would pick out those keywords, and the main thing being Jeffrey Turner because he's our key individual. So I would just kind of skim over the text till I saw his name, and there it is right there. There's one time, but I want to see right there in paragraph 5 is where he's first introduced. So that's what I would read. But how did the goats actually make the spider silk? That's what scientist Jeffrey Turner wanted to figure out when he taught animal science at McGill University in Montreal. He noticed that the body parts of spiders that make silk and the parts of goats that make milk are very much alike. So I should easily be able to pick out that answer to question number 3. As to what did he discover about using Nubian goats for the possible silk production, it would be D, that Nubian goats and spiders have body parts that are similar. So picking out those keywords within my questions, but understanding what type of question is this. And this is where I'm trying to figure out Jeffrey Turner and his idea of using Nubian goats. Then I come down to question number 4. Question number 4 says, in the process described in paragraph 7. So this tells me exactly where I need to go. I need to go to paragraph 7 and read in those following paragraphs after paragraph 7 to see which step actually allows the threads to become strong enough for surgical procedures. So there again, that makes this question an RI 6.3 because we have an event, and the event is what do I have to do to these threads to make them strong enough for surgical procedures? So if I went up to paragraph 7 and started reading, then it's going to talk about in the body there are proteins, and these proteins are what help make the silk. And then it keeps talking about the process. And then I come to paragraph 8, and it says the silk is taken to a spinning machine that copies the way the spiders spin their silk. The secret to extra strong silk is in how the spiders spin it. They stretch the silk over and over again. So if you keep reading, it's going to talk about how it would be strong enough to be used in surgical procedures. And what makes it that strong is where they have to stretch it repeatedly. But it told me where to actually go to start finding that answer, and that was in paragraph 7. And keep reading until what allows the threads to become strong enough for surgical procedures. Then I come down to question number 5. On question number 5, this is an RI, Reading Informational 6.5 standard, because it gives me exact text, and then it wants to know why are these lines important to the article. So if you remember what 6.5 is how you analyze a particular sentence, paragraph, chapter, or section, and how does it fit into the overall structure of a text and contribute to the development of its ideas? So as you read question number 5, that's what you would be asking yourself. Why are these lines important to the article? What do they tell me? If I was to take these lines out of this particular text, what would I then not know? So it helps me to understand, what is the question asking me? What am I looking for? So why are these lines important to the article? It talks about how the goat's owners give them plenty of space to roam, to play, how the goats enjoy rolling down the farm's grassy hills, love listening to music. So it sounds to me like these goats have it made in this text. So why are these lines important to the article? And it would be, and you could probably pick it out when you read over the answer choices carefully, that it is C. They explain that the goats are treated well. They get to listen to music. They get to roll down the hills. They have plenty of space to play in. And then question number 6, when we come to question number 6, it says, which statement best expresses a central idea? So as we talked about earlier, central ideas are RI 6.2. When we're trying to determine the central idea of a text or provide summary. So when we try to provide a summary of a text, then we would never want to put our opinion or our personal feelings within the text. Same thing with central idea. What does the article actually tell me? What is it saying? So you would be able to read over that, those answer choices, and more than likely come up with the answer choice C, that Nubian goats have been genetically altered, and that means that they have the genes now that produce the spider silk. They wanted to do that because this silk is used in so many different things, and they wanted to be able to produce more amounts of it. So RI 6.2, central idea. And then the last question that goes along with this text is also an RI 6.2, but it's a summary. Which detail is most important to include in a summary? So as I tell my boys and girls in my classroom, when you're thinking about summary, you don't want to list everything that happened within the text. You want to think about the most important things, the how, the when, the why, the where, the who. What's actually going on within this text that is most important to remember. So if you read over those, then B should stick out to you. That spider silk has qualities that can be used in many products. That's where the whole idea for using these Nubian goats originated, because they wanted to find a way to produce more spider silk because it can be used in so many different products. So I hope this has helped us just going back and reviewing over some of these reading informational standards and using them within this text. I hope you guys have a wonderful and safe summer.